crazy for my Friday night league. There's nothing like watching Friday night football. It's what I live for at the end of my week.
Australia versus New Zealand, right here on Nine's Friday Night Football.
They are bonded by geography and by spirit. The Anzac spirit. Mates in world wars and adversity, yet enemies on our sporting fields. Australia versus New Zealand. Big brother versus little brother. And all the tradition and celebration and inspiration such contests of birthright inspire.
When the haka gets going, the goosebumps come out, and you tense up and you want to bring a sword out and start slaying people, but that's what the haka does to us.
When they put on that black jersey, I think they're a bit like the Queenslanders. They pick it up a little bit, and I think they become 8 foot instead of 7 foot. So look, they're very tough, and those Polynesians are very hard to pull down.
And Swan juggles and gets it there.
We look at the side. Every player's or every forward's 110 kilo, and they're mobile. So it's going to be a smash-up.
We just got to go toe-to-toe with the Australians for 80 minutes, and it's just going to be a hell of a battle.
It's actually good coming off an Origin series and playing against those guys. I think a lot of us are sort of ready for this type of football, and we know it's going to be big and physical, and that's what we've just sort of come off. So I'm sure it's going to be no different.
Yeah, it's a strange one because the last 6 weeks we've tried to kill each other. There's no more intense footy than State of Origin, and the big challenge for us now is to get that intensity that both teams showed in the Origin and transfer into Test footy, and I'm confident we can do that.
And away goes Gordon. Tell us, score!
For once, I might get cheered, which will be nice.
It's exactly 75 years since an Australian sporting team first wore the green and gold. And it was this team, the Kangaroos, against this team, New Zealand. The best of mates and worst of enemies. From Aussie Stadium, Sydney, Test Rugby League on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
It's been 44 years since the New Zealand Kiwis last defeated Australia in a Rugby League Test match here in Sydney. But tonight, the men from across the Tasman come to the Aussie Stadium fresh and confident they can break that lengthy drought. Good evening and thanks for joining us for this opening test of 2003. Many believing that after a tiring Origin series, the Australians may be vulnerable tonight. I'm not sure if that is the case. The Kiwis, of course, hoping to emulate what they did back in 1999. That was the last time they did defeat Australia at Test level. It has been a heavy schedule for the Australian players. It's no surprise that their coach, Chris Anderson, this week has kept their preparation very relaxed. All of their sessions have been short, sharp, and to the point. There you can see the Australians with Andrew Johns telling his players what's expected tonight. They do look relaxed. They did also lose Darren Lockyer during the week. That was a savage blow with that troublesome ankle injury. And here is how the home side will take the field. At fullback tonight, Anthony Minicello. On the wings, Matt Singh and Shannon Hegarty. Young centre pairing of Brent Tate and Jamie Lyon. At 5'8", just reward for Sean Timmins. The halfback and the Australian skipper is Andrew Johns. Making his test debut at 30 years of age and locking the scrum is Luke Ricketson, Gordon Tallis, Dane Carlaw, the second row pairing. And what a front row, Shane Webke, Danny Badiris and Luke Bailey. And coming off the bench tonight, Brian Fletcher and Craig Wing. In 16, Willie Mason, 17, Petro Sivanasiva, their coach, Chris Anderson. And speaking of Andersons, the first time that man tonight, Daniel, has taken over the reins of the national side. Been a rapid rise, just 3 years top-grade coaching. But he's done a great job, and a task could be made a little bit easier tonight. As you can see, a lot of familiar faces there from the Warriors camp. In fact, 7 of his club players have made the squad. They lost Ali Lauatiti through suspension during the week. Here's their team. David Violecki as fullback, Matt Utai and Francis Melly on the flanks. Plenty of try-scoring potential with Nigel Bunganar and Clinton Torpey in the centres. A surprise at 5'8", Willie Talau. The halfback is Stacey Jones. Blocking the scrum, Arwen Guttenbeil, Stephen Kearney and Logan Swan comes into the run on side, whilst the front row of Paul Rauhihi, Richard Swain and Ruben Wickie, who's the captain of the side. Their interchange, Tony Pulatua and Monty Beetham, Jerry Siu and Joe Nallavau. Their coach is Daniel Anderson. So Australia tonight looking to continue their domination over the New Zealanders in recent years, but there is a growing swell. The Kiwis can come to the Aussie Stadium tonight and cause the upset. Let's go to the commentary box with Paul Borton and Andrew Voss.
They have played 85 test matches, these two nations, as we go into the New Zealand dressing room. The Aussies have won on 60 occasions, New Zealand 24. There has been one draw. And overall in internationals tonight, the 99th occasion the sides have clashed. When you take into account World Cup matches, these two sides played the World Cup final of 2000 at Old Trafford in Manchester. Not quite the crowd that was there on that occasion for tonight's battle. You can see Luke Ricketson in shot at 30 years of age, making his debut tonight. Luke Bailey, another one of those players first up tonight in the green and gold. The strip that was first worn in 1928. And here come the Kiwis. A big moment for Ruben Wickie. He has been a fine servant for the Canberra Raiders and for his country. Tonight in his 38th test, he has the honour of skippering this team. And across the 17, there are many, many contenders for that position. Some that have already captained their country. The likes of Kearney. Stacey Jones is in the mix. Stephen Kearney tonight, 44th test match. Gary Freeman, the Wiz, holds the record at 46. Kearney was under an injury cloud coming into tonight. It is time for the Phillips Kangaroos, the green and gold, and Andrew Johns, only the second time in his career as captain of the national team. Of course, they are favourites. The pressure builds with every match that they play. Here at this ground last year, they were devastating against Great Britain, 64-10. They wiped out the best that the Brits could offer. Andrew Johns, a star on that night, and took his test match tally of points to 180. And for Luke Ricketson, who made his debut at this ground in 1991 for the Roosters, 12 years on, he makes his test debut. And despite all the experience, there would be some nerves. And Ruben Wickie, as I said, has been just a wonderful contributor at all levels of the game. He will stand by for the national anthems. This is the first of two test matches that these two countries will play this year. The New Zealand anthem to be provided by Jay Lagaya, very talented performer. Kiwis in the crowd here tonight at Aussie Stadium. but they are outnumbered by the Australian contingent, and the national anthem that they will join in the chorus with young Amity Dry tonight, star of the Channel 9 series The Block. We count down to kick off. These two sides, they last played a test match in October last year. It was at the Cake Tin in Wellington. It was a stirring first 40 minutes. The Kiwis led 24-16. The Kangaroos eventually ran out winners 32 points to 24. As is tradition, we have the haka, and it will be passionately led by Stephen Kearney. Gave them the stare. It certainly sets it up, though. They started that test match so impressively last year, New Zealand. They scored a couple of tries inside the first 15 minutes. One of the compelling positional clashes, of course, tonight we have to look forward to the clash of the halfbacks, Andrew Johns and Stacey Jones. Most believe Andrew is the outstanding player in the world, but it was Stacey who won the Golden Boot last year, judged as the world's best. Let's hear what Andrew Johns has to say about his arch rival.
Playing against Stacey, he's probably one of my biggest competitors. He's got no weakness. I think he's taken his game to a new level over the past 2 years and spearheaded the Warriors last year to get into the grand final. I think we sort of bring the best out of each other every time we play each other, and really enjoy playing against Stacey.
Now those two players fair at the end of 80 minutes will have a lot to do with who wins this match tonight. Bill Harrigan referee. And test football, we are underway, and the Kiwis go for a shallow start to the match. And it is Timmins who comes up with the ball. And a dummy half, Matt Singh, returning to test football for the first time since '99 tonight. Rewarded for an outstanding Origin series. This is Tate, one of his Queensland teammates. And 4 in the tackle on the Australian centre on the 30-metre line. And they will kick from that 30. Andrew Johns' first kick has Violecki on the chase. Almost a 40-20. Violecki with some play back to the goal line. And Ricketson first man there.
Oh, yeah, great chase there by the Aussies. Good work by Violecki. Outstanding stuff there. We can expect a very physical start to this match. The Kiwis were going in hard in their tackles. Let's see what the Australians have got.
No fear, the attitude of the Kiwis going into tonight. Heavy defence on that previous exchange on Melly, and then Swan was lifted up low by Johns, high by Ricketson. Now Wiki, the captain, puts his head down like a battering ram and able to offload. This is Rahihi over the 20. The Australians will be aware of the offloading ability of many of the Kiwi forwards, and indeed the troops they've got coming off the bench. Jones's first kick of the night finds Minicello on the full.
There's no doubt New Zealand would like to make this as physical as possible, and that's shown by their interchange. All big men coming off the interchange. Pulatua beat them. See you, and Nullavow. A lot of finesse there. There you can see them. Big men waiting to make their mark. And here's Webke taking it forward. Good low tackle.
35 metres out. The man low was his Broncos teammate Richard Swain. Johns coming right, finding Tallis. The Origin captains, teammates tonight. 25 away. Medeiros full width of the field to work with here. Johns with a little shuffle, then came back in. Tate was taken out of the play.
Yeah, Guttenbeil got him. They're looking to the sideline. It's play on.
Last tackle. Timmins' kick is high. It's going to come down short of the goal line. No one decides to make a play at it. Ricketson keeps it alive for Hegarty, and then in turn kept alive for Carlaw. On the fingertips of Lyon. Back for Minicello. He spreads it. Now it's in the hand of Johns, who loses possession. And it will be a changeover, but an overlap had developed on that right side.
Yes, some panic passing there by the Australians, but whenever they passed it, they kept finding space, and had that last pass been taken by Johns, well, it could have been try time.
Sideline tonight, the New South Wales Origin coach Phil Gould.
Yes, Andrew, cool night down here. They say it's 9 degrees, but it's colder than that. There was a breeze coming from the north. That seems to have died a little bit. There won't be any secret to the way the Kiwis are going to play tonight, straight and hard. Last October, when these two sides met, they got off to a blistering start. We'll see who learnt most out of that game.
Stephen Kearney, that was the clash in Wellington. 32-24, but all the Kiwis points in the first 40 minutes. Jones kicks, but again he has found Minicello on the full. And he's able to link up with Singh. 15 metres out, Swan with a tackle and forces the turnover. And Swan play on for New Zealand. And Swan has scored for the Kiwis. Harrigan may just go to the video referee, he will. But Logan Swan into the starting lineup may have come up with a first four-pointer.
Well, we heard Bill Harrigan say play on. He now has the opportunity to have a closer look at it to see if the strip was a legal one. There's Matt Singh. Swan goes in. Ball comes out. Now, did Swan pull the ball forward? Did he propel it towards the opponent's try line? That's the question to be answered here by the video ref. I just think it's come loose, and I think Logan Swan has got every right to pick that up and scamper across.
Yeah, well, it could very well be a try. It's a one-on-one strip. The ball had come loose before anyone else got involved in the tackle. Now, what's Swan's left hand? That's the one that pulls the ball loose. And did it travel forward? That's what the video referee has got to work out.
He's always been a quality player, Logan Swan. This is his 26th test for the Kiwis. And possibly try number 6. Luke Bailey coming across in cover.
Peter, he has the rare distinction of playing test football before he'd even played first grade. Back in '96, when he made his debut. Well, and he's without a club for next year too.
I'm going to say it wasn't that long ago the Warriors were prepared to let him go. They weren't happy with some parts of his game on and off the field. And now he finds himself in a black and white jersey, mostly black. Could be getting away his team to the ideal start.
Well, having plenty of looks at it, I believe if he has stripped it, then I think he's propelled it forward. I think it's a knock on, but is it a strip? Is it a strip? Or has he just lost it?
Phil Cooley in the video referee's box tonight. Also Alan Caddy, the New Zealand representative. But it is Phil who has charge of the buttons, if you like. It's his job to make the final decision. Richard Swain got the first try in last October's test, an unlikely first try scorer. Here's the decision. No try. And penalty for more than one in the tackle.
That must have been the ruling. I thought the ball had come loose before any other Kiwi got involved in the tackle. Tragedy for New Zealand fans.
So a real let-off for the Kangaroos. Inside the first 4 minutes of play, they know they are in a ball game. And Bailey takes the tackle on the 40-metre line. Medeiros infield with Webke. Bounced away from Rauhihi. Webke will walk tall from that tackle, thinking I've won that battle.
Gee, I think that's a tough call against New Zealand. I don't think Logan Swan deliberately played at the football. I could understand a knock-on, breaking it with the ball coming out and going forward, but I don't think he deliberately played at the football.
Australians 5 metres inside their own half, and Carlaw runs at an angle there, but runs into Owen Guttenbeil. Swain and Kearney in there as well. Now Badiris gets inside the 40 and is now 30 metres away. It's been a good set from the green and golds. Andrew Johns on the last tackle. Kicks back towards the crossbar. It is loose in goal. It is play on, and the Kiwis come up with it. Well, that was almost a miraculous piece of play by the Kangaroos here.
Well, this is incredible football. It's been ruled it'll be a line dropout. Pretty sure it was knocked back by
Jamie Lyon.
Jamie Lyon.
And then quick thinking by Vunganar trying to get the football there to Willie Talau.
Yeah, but Talau had his foot on the dead ball line, so the dropout by Richard Swain. Australia on the attack again.
On dropout, Bailey will bring back. We'll get to Gus quickly before that video ref decision passes. Phil, what was your call on it? We'll come back to Phil in just a moment. Luke Ricketson 20 metres out from the line. And Badiris a dummy half, finding Andrew Johns in the switch. Webke is running with plenty of determination. And an offload. He wins another battle. Tallis on that 20-metre line. And he was engaged in a tackle there with Clinton Torpy. Tate, Johns, and then Ricketson. It's a flat Australian attacking line there, but Johns has turned them around. Utai turns. It's over the dead ball line. If he does have a weakness, Matt Utai, he can be a little slow in turning and chasing.
Yeah, smart football by Andrew Johns. He saw that there was no one at home. So the bounce of the ball beat them, Hegarty and Utai. Utai probably had it covered, but the Australians are moving the ball around. They're throwing it wide and finding a few half holes.
New Zealand with it, outside the 30. And Rahihi, who represents the North Queensland Cowboys this year, has played in every game. That looked a forward pass to Guttenbeil and called so by Bill Harrigan. It's an error inside their own half. And that was a flying start for the lock forward. Scrum you can see, 5 metres inside New Zealand's half.
We've got Stacey Jones defending on the left wing. Talau at the scrum base, where the halfback would normally be. Sean Timmins is crunched by David Violecki. Gets a little bit of help from Guttenberg.
Here they come right. Webke, he's been the standout forward early. He got bumped in the tackle. He was still looking to offload. And that quick play the ball. With it is Bailey. Is there a more deserving forward out there on the back of his origin performances? 32 from the line. And left they come. It is Andrew Johns passing inside. It was a dumping pass back for Carlaw. Now 25 metres from the line. They've had the better of the field position. There's a knock-on in there.
And they needed that too, the Kiwis. They've had to do a lot of defence early in this match. A few of the boys are huffing and puffing. And is there any interference in this? Carlaw has got the football. And he just lost it. Rolled out the side.
Pull him in, Luke. Pull him in tight, Luke.
And there was a hand in there, no doubt, by Rahihi.
And Carlaw making his return also to Test football tonight after 5 tests in 2001. Let's take a comment from the sideline. Phil Gould.
It just looks like a slow start to this game. Both teams feeling each other out. We know the Kiwis were going to be physical. The Australians have got plenty of ball movement, but it's slow ball movement. They're not into their rhythm just yet.
And New Zealand almost back to halfway now. Wiki passing short of the line for Rauhihi. And Rauhihi keeps moving. He's dragged to ground by Webke. 35 metres out. Kiwis get their first roll on of the match. Guttenbeil trying to pass has turned it over.
He's a very good player, Owen Guttenbeil, very underrated, but he has got a weakness in his game. He's trying to offload under pressure, and that was certainly an occasion where he needed to take the tackle. Again, Australia come wide immediately from the turnover. And Tate will go out of dummy half here. Strong dummy half runner. But
that is a good tackle from Guttenbeil. Devoured him in the tackle. He went quickly to ground. He got up swinging. And now Matt Singh. Tackle number 4. 9.5 minutes gone as Andrew Johns, they go left and find line. Up to halfway now. It's been a good defensive set from the Kiwis. Johns had to go with a second option on the kick. He gets a big first bounce, an even bigger second bounce, and again a 20-metre restart. Also tonight, Gus's MVP in operation again. Your chance to win $1,000 courtesy of our good friends at Nutrigrain. Official cereal of the NRL, and that number to text the player's name who you think will be Gus's MVP, 188 1099. The Kiwis with it. Stacey Jones, Wiki. On the 40-metre line. Rauhihi is revelling in the early going.
Yeah, it's a great start in the match for Rauhihi. Been playing some very strong football for North Queensland, and he's had a big first 10 minutes.
Wiki. This is 40 metres out from the Australian line. Jones kicking for that corner. He sent Utai on the chase. He bowled over Hegarty. Minicello comes up with the ball. And Utai on the chase put the best push in the back you'll ever see. Hegarty was knocked over like a 10-pin. Jamie Lyon, young Parramatta centre, just 21 years of age.
It's a great rise from Shannon Hegarty, isn't it? One stage there, a lot of doubt whether he'd actually make the Queensland side. Of course, the 18th man for Australia. Tamanata, who was unavailable with Lockie withdrawing all of a sudden. The Roosters flyer is in the green and gold. Here's Carlaw taken over the 40-metre line.
Just a little cohesion problem on that play. Bailey withdrew the hands at the very last second. Now Johns with a run up to this kick. Utai has had a lot of work to do early. In fact, back there was Vangana for the ball, and Violecki now with it. And Violecki, angled run, got away from Webke, goes over the top of Baderas, goes through Ricketson. That's effective. That'll be on the highlights reel.
Big run, inspiring run. The rest of his players should lift after watching that one from the fullback.
Some pretty handy defenders he got past. Swan now, who was denied a try for the Kiwis.
Well, in 3 rucks, they've come 37 metres. First year Violecki, then it was Melly, Logan Swan, and that's a great 4 tackles for them. They'll actually kick the football from over the halfway line.
Swain back for Wiki. Almost through the tackle there of Webke. Bailey hangs on. Tallis has been hurt here. For the Australians, Tallis is down and clutching at his knee. And the Kiwis attack. Guttenbeil, he's 20 metres out, keeps it alive. Miraculous play. Now it's put down. Hegarty was in there for the loose ball.
Yeah, decided to run the football on the 5th tackle. You can see the concern now by the trainer and the pain that Gordon Tallis seems to be in. He's trying to get to his feet, but Ryan Fletcher prepares to come on.
It looks like he was grabbing a knee, Paul. It's either going to be a knee or a groin problem. Ruben Wiki so hard to contain. And Gordon looks straight down at the knee, knows that there's a problem.
I think it was a pretty harsh knock. It might even be a corked knee, which it can be a bit ordinary, but it seemed to have some very heavy contact there as he attempted to make a tackle.
Well, with Gordon being attended to, we will break. This is the test match. 13 gone, no score. The good news here at Aussie Stadium, Gordon Tallis is back to his feet, albeit not 100%, and the shake of the head suggests he may be gone for the night. It's not often you see Gordon Tallis in this situation. 8 test matches under the belt before tonight.
Yeah, that's better. The gate's a little bit better now. I imagine he will be coming back into the contest at some stage.
We resume with Matt Singh. It was the best play of the match from New Zealand. Their best set of the match too at the end of it. So the first interchange of the night for the Kangaroos, and Fletcher the man out there. Webke. It's an absorbing battle up front tonight. Webke is soaking it up. No backward steps from the Kiwis. Tate under pressure and Melly throws his 100-kilo frame into the tackle. Now Timmins. Able to offload out the back for Medeiros. He keeps it alive for Johns. Johns got past one, and Jones, the two number 7s, come head-to-head. His tackle. So the number 1 kicker out of play, and Medeiros is the alternative. And it's not a bad plan B, is it? Violecki from his own in goal. And now gets over that 10-metre line and is picked up and driven by Bailey. The front rower leads the charge. Utai back to the 20.
He's a great man, Matt Utai, bringing the football out at both ends of the field. He's got a low centre of gravity, a very quick play the ball, and that's enabled him to get 30 metres in 3 rucks. They go the short side through Kearney. He offloads.
Nigel Vunganar able to offload in turn to Swain. And Wiki, the Kiwis leading that department, the offloads. Outside the 40, Swain going for a gallop and put awful pressure on his halfback. Able to keep it going with Pulatua. You don't want to be doing that to your little man, your little general in Stacey Jones, who for the 3rd time tonight has found Minicello on the full.
Yeah, Stacey's a very good... Minicello goes through.
Minicello with support. Minicello over halfway, runs away from Matt Singh. And the scramble gets there for New Zealand.
Yeah, very fortunate for New Zealand because the man chasing Matt Singh was Richard Swain. He couldn't keep up.
Lyon is with it. It is still on for the Australians. Hegarty. He's inside the 20. The Kiwis only now regroup. And there will be a penalty.
Hey, you had your hand on it, couldn't play.
It's one of those that possibly could have gone either way.
Put it out, like for a trip. I didn't see it, mate. I can only keep my eyes open. Hand on the ball.
I think that's a penalty New Zealand needed to give away. They were gone in that set. They were struggling to get a line back. Now with that little bit of a break, they're a chance of holding on here as Webke takes the charge. He's been the best player on the field, Webke.
10 metres out. Swans would be thinking they will crack the Kiwis here. Bailey alive with Fletcher. And steps back into a 3-man tackle in front of the Kiwi posts. Medeiros, Timmins, alive with Minicello. The try coming for Singh with a double. And Matty Singh gets over for the Kangaroos. And there is no doubt about this one. It is 4-0.
Yeah, a little bit of a juggle there from Matty Singh, but he was able to control it to get his 2nd for Australia. And Stacey Jones put the kick through and Minicello made the bust. Now to Minicello's right, look at Matt Singh on the fly. And if he'd have passed, I'm sure that Richard Swain and Violecki would have been unable to stop the try. Here was the penalty. No doubt deliberate tactics there from David Violecki to slow the football down. The penalty resulted. If he frees it there, this man rushes up to try and get his player, and when he misses, that gives a little bit of space on the outside as play continues. Once he is brought in, then the overlap is there. And a nice little interplay there. Tate realises that he could have gone over the sideline. Singh goes back inside and grabs the football.
Yeah, they never had the numbers, did they, at any stage there, the Kiwis. And that was a good ball by Timmins, who drew in 2 Kiwis. And then they were always going to score. Nice work from Brent Tate and Matty Singh, having his best year ever, I reckon, for North Queensland, for Queensland, now for Australia.
16 tries for the Cowboys this year. 2nd test try of his career. And of course that hat-trick in Origin 3 that led to him being man of the match. Now here is an area the Australians have an advantage. Andrew Johns, who kicks at 82% this year. The Kiwis have a choice of Jones and Swain for kicking. Johns 21 metres out. First kick of the night, turns 4 into 6. And Nine's Friday Night Football. Phil Gould's sideline, 6-0 the Kangaroos.
Yes, mate, we've got some news on Gordon Tallis, who left the field there with that knee injury. Initial prognosis is that he's got a grade 2 medial ligament tear. A grade 2 medial ligament tear. He will not be back tonight. It could be a lot worse, but it's not good. He's going to miss a couple of games for the Broncos, I would say.
And the damage was done, coincidentally, or ironically, by his front row teammate from the Broncos, Shane Webke. Certainly moving much more freely than when he went down and initially got to his feet. And shocking news, especially on the top of Darren Lockyer being out for an extended period for the Brisbane team.
Very unfortunate. And Richard Swain, he actually kicked quite well in the goal-kicking role in that test in October in Wellington. Kicked 4 from 5. Webke, he'd like to be in a position tonight where he has 5 opportunities at goal. But they are 6-0 down, and the Kangaroos with Bailey.
And the important thing for New Zealand is that they turn this scoreline into 6-4 or 6-all, not 12-0 against them. They must be the next to score. In past confrontations, Australia have been able to put tries back-to-back quickly, and the contest was over.
Fletcher is in trouble after that tackle from Torpy and Siu, who's out there off the bench. Now Hegarty with it. Just a minor point, but I'm disappointed for Shannon that he has to wear a jumper 18 in his test debut. He's in the starting side. They might have given him the 5 and Minicello the 1. So the Kiwis are back in possession. Violecki's done some good things early, and he's playing with a venom that perhaps we haven't seen this year, an aggression. He was dropped after 8 rounds of this year with Parramatta. He's since fought his way back. New Zealand on the 30. Siu with a trademark charge back to the 40. At times he can have a questionable knee action. This is Guttenbeil. Now Kearney. And he is 45 metres from the Australian line, but it is the last tackle. They just haven't been able to get any sustained pressure applied on the Aussies so far. Getting those repeat sets. Minicello able to lock up the ball this time.
There's a better kick there from New Zealand. On that occasion by Swain from dummy half. As we've said, Jones's first 3 kicks found Minicello on the full. In the end, Minicello made a 50-yard break from one of them. And Shane Webke, yeah, big game by Shane Webke. 13 tackles so far in the match, and that's his 8th hit-up. That's outstanding.
There's Andrew Johns working this right side of the field. And I don't know where the pass came from. Tate ends up with it. There were 3 in the tackle on Andrew, and he was still able to offload. Timmins passes infield. Long ball, Badira. Shades of Ollie Lewis. Ricketson. Lyon. Hegarty's on his outside. And Lyon down 30 metres from the line. Now Andrew Johns, 25 metres out, utilising that short kick. It bounces favourably. It bounces better than that. Brent Tate has helped himself to a test try if he is onside.
That's the only concern, but from the way that the Australians are reacting, especially Brent Tate, he knows he was behind the kicker. I think if anything, David Violecki might have just been caught a little bit out of position. Let's have a look. Yeah, I've got no doubt all the Australians are behind the kicker there. And it's delicately placed. Violecki just didn't have the speed. Didn't get a lot of help there from Francis Melly, did he?
Well, the pace of the game's been very, very hectic, and it's the Australians are going from strength to strength, and the Kiwis are struggling. The last few minutes in defence, they've found it hard to get their line set, and already they're showing signs of distress.
Yeah, I think Matt Utai made a try-saving tackle in the play before when he grabbed the jersey. They were away on the far side, and the try comes up. The cheer girls go up as well. So does the scoreboard.
And a 10-0 scoreline, and the try to Brent Tate, who this time 2 years ago hadn't even played first grade. But what about the pass of Badiris boys? Did Paponis and Krilic do that in their day?
Yeah, this is the tackle I'm talking about from Matt Utai. If he hadn't have grabbed him then, they'd have scored a ruck earlier. Wonderful ball from Danny Badiris, who of course is a former inside back. And then just the vision there. You saw Andrew Johns, he caught the football, he had a little bit of a look. What's my best option here? Okay, the kick's on. What kind of kick is needed? The little chip kick over the top, that gives Machases the best chance, and he executed it beautifully.
And plenty of bodies on the chase too. And it's been a wonderful rise for Tate through first grade to Origin to Test football. And Johns to make it 12-0. That is the story here at Aussie Stadium. Nines Friday night Test football. 12-0 to the Kangaroos. Kiwis in search of points. The Australians looking to maintain their dominance on the scoreboard. And there are changes out there. One of the men on is Sivanasiva. Craig Wing has also been thrown into the match after the first quarter. They're on their 30.
They're a real backs to the wall position now for the Kiwis, and they're not a side against Australia that have come from behind on the scoreboard. Anytime they've gone close to winning or in fact prevailed, they've always built up a substantial lead. Even last year they led 18-6 and got rolled. When they won 24-22 in 1999, they scored all their points in the first half. They're not a good side from coming from behind. Can they turn that around tonight?
You just saw the reaction there of Andrew Johns. He's a bit disbelieving of the bounces he's getting. His kick came down inside the 20, but then took a giant hop as if it hit the tarmac out at Mascot. And not for the first time in this game. Flew over the dead ball line. Part of the pun. And New Zealand back on their 40.
Like the ball's come down, hit a cart path, gone out of bounds. It's happened a few times. Tragic.
Kiwis in possession. Kearney was slow to his feet that time. Guttenbeil. Is there the same gusto about the Kiwis attacking work here now? I think not. Torpy with a crossfield run out of dummy half. 5 tackles, 38 metres gained in this set. The door opens for Swain. He's all on his own and kicks for the corner. Great kick, and Haggerty's work is top shelf. On Test debut, that's a beautiful play by Shannon Haggerty.
Yeah, there's a little set two there between Torpy and Fletcher, who was marker, and that allowed Swain to slide through. And he kicked astutely to the far side, but Haggerty catches or leaves the field in the field of play, and that's why we'll see the line drop out. Good football all round.
And it was no soft tackle, let me tell you, from Vangana. And Haggerty held on to the football. That is a big confidence booster for the young rooster. Line drop out. They have been sweating on a repeat set. They've got one now. A little unexpected. And a mix-up. New tie on halfway. It's the razzes from the crowd over there. The eastern side, he's twisted back in the tackle there of Bailey. See you. Put a forearm up and Craig Wing. Craig Wing playing his second test match tonight. Kulatua bounded away from Timmins' attempt. This is Swain. Kearney. He's got that unusual looking bandage to the left ear. He had 20 stitches in that a few weeks back. As the Kiwis attack the right, they are 20 metres out from the line. And the Australians under a little bit of a defensive squeeze here as Jones gets the kick in. It's for the wing of Melly. They're very good under the high ball. Melly loses it back. Tate attacks the man without the ball. It was knocked back by the Kiwis.
Yeah, Tate actually kicks the football over the sideline, but it was accidental, and I'm sure he didn't play at it. Should result in an Australian ball.
See it all unfold. The Australians win the scrum. Singh running with a good amount of acceleration there. Let's head to the sideline on the Kiwis attack field.
I suppose everyone's eyebrows were raised when Willie Talau was named as 5'8" for this Kiwi side, but after only a short period in this game, I'm prepared to doom it a failure. There's not enough variety in this Kiwi attack to trouble the Australian defence. They're doing it very, very comfortably with the pace of the game the way it is, and the Kiwis are struggling for options.
Timmins almost back to halfway. And Craig Wing now on a scurry. You saw Willie Mason on the bench. He's now out there, or rather on the sideline. He'll get his taste here. This is where he made his test debut last year against Great Britain. Scored a try on debut. Scored a try in his second test as well. Francis Melly, leading try scorer for the Warriors this year, is given the treatment there in the tackle of Fletcher and Johns. Now see you, there's that gate as the left knee gets pumping. Just watch Jerry as he gets moving. He searches for that extra little bit. Talau wrapped up his last tackle. It's been a set of 6 lacking adventure for the Kiwis. Jones's kick is wide. In fact, into the Nutrigrain sign, which is a good 5 or 6 metres over the sideline.
Yeah, nothing going right for the Kiwis in attack. It's a very tepid performance by them with the football, isn't it? As Phil said, there's a lack of variety. There's hardly been any interchange of passing. The couple of times they have used the inside ball, it's been successful. The last time they did that was about 15 minutes ago. It's all Australia at the moment.
Sivanasiva will play it. And wing left with Mason. So Wing's first taste of game time in this match is as a dummy half. Andrew Johns, wide ball back. And they prop and find Fletcher standing wide. Unloads here for Tate. Gets the kick in. And again, it is too strong.
The danger in the Australian speed to get the ball wide. Long flat passes. Opens up some space on the outside, although the Kiwis closed it up nicely. He didn't panic under pressure there, David Violecki, realising the ball was going over the dead ball line.
Logan Swan from the restart. And New Zealand now with Utai. Just another dummy half run. But the wind is out of the sails very much at the moment. There's Rauhihi on halfway. Swain with a run. Man in a position on that short side. Bunganar was able to offload. It's good second phase play. Utai in turn was looking to keep it alive. Now Swain. Jones and then Pulatua. Maybe an injection of Nullavow is the player they need right now. Last tackle here with Jones. He's going to be caught in possession and passes. It will be a changeover. And even with their star playmaker, it breaks down on the last.
Well, he's the only one that's capable of doing anything, Stacey Jones, and the pressure is all on him, and the Australians know that. And they're really finding him out. They're coming up hard on the outside, cutting off his supports. On that occasion, Stacey nearly passed it off the ground, but Australia, Shane Webke back on, going good.
And running, and Talau offloaded for Lyon. It was brilliant. And Jamie Lyon, he set sail for the try line. This young tyro from Parramatta on the end of a Webke offload scores what is a beautiful test try. 16-0.
And Jamie Lyon gets his third in Australian colours, and he'll say, put it down to Shane Webke and his ability to draw 3 defenders and not throw a forward pass. He turned David Violecki inside out, Parramatta teammates, and then had too much speed for Vinton Chorby. A swan dive at the end. Beautiful stuff. Look at the big man. This is skill.
Great work, Shane Webke. Did all the hard yakka early, and now he brings out his skill. And as a fullback, this is not the way to defend if you're a fullback. David Violecki almost wanted to race him to the try line. The great fullbacks of yesteryear, blokes like Graham Eady, would have charged him, picked him up and put him back on the halfway line. But great work by Lyon. Beautiful run of the football. When he gets into open space, it's just poetry in motion.
Yeah, he's quicker than a lot of people think.
And John successful with his third kick of the night. The Kangaroos on song. 18-0, Nines Friday Night Football. Back at Aussie Stadium. An 18-0 scoreline. And Shane Webke, the hard work in the lead up to the try, and don't his teammates appreciate it. The skipper, one of the first men across. The Kangaroos, but this is what you love about seeing the Australian side in action. Seeing Johns alongside the Broncos. Webke seeing Lyon on the same side, the Roosters. This is our best. Oh, the tackle from Webke from Torpy. I have never never seen Webke taken in such a manner. Craig Wing is away. One tackle, they need more than that. 38 metres from the line. Tate. Johns. Floating ball long. And Fletcher. That's a good tackle from Talau. Fletcher menacing out wide. Hegarty. They're on the rack here, the Kiwis. Johns. Simona Siva. Mason. Try and stop him. No one can. Mason. 3 tests, 3 tries. And the Aussies have their 4th.
And it's a ravaging Willie Mason. It's a ravaging Australian side at the moment, throwing the football from side to side. Unfortunately for New Zealand, too much of that rugged defence, strong defence, is followed up by soft. And Craig Wing goes out of dummy half, puts a little step on. Rauhiwi has a great shot at him. And the strength of Wing gets him out of the tackle, gets rid of Swain. And eventually they make the tackle, but the damage is done. The defence is shot. And then they come to the right-hand side. Will be freeze it there. You can see these Kiwi players, they're not sure whether to come in, whether to come up. And as play continues, the decoy players put them in 2 minds. All of a sudden they come in, the hole opens up for Mason, charges straight. And you don't think that David Bielecki is going to have nightmares after tonight's game with the traffic coming his way.
You can see the difference in the two sides when they're attacking. The Australians have got depth and width, and they're using it to advantage. And big fellows like Willie Mason charging into holes like that. Happy days, Willie. This could get ugly.
Andrew Johns has got 3 from 3. Now it is 4 from 4. The Australian fans, they are loving it. A rare chance to wear the green and gold jumper. So a game of footy. Phil Gould sideline.
Yeah, well, they put the Great Britain side to the sword this time last year, and they're going to do it to the Kiwis again tonight. People saying they were tired after a tough State of Origin series, but that just hardens you up, and the pride of playing for Australia gets over that sort of thing. The width of their game is the thing, the skill from all these players. There is no skill in the Kiwi side, and their defence just can't aim up on the numbers.
Words from Phil Gould on the Kiwi performance so far, as Webke takes another run and offloads. That's his 3rd for the night. Minicello with it. There are 5 in this New Zealand squad who are members of that 52-0 match in 2000.
Shane Webke, we should also point out that it was Petro Sivanasiva who put the ball onto the chest of Willie Mason at the other end. Went through for a try, so the big men for Australia offloading beautifully as well to promote for teammates.
Johns, after a Mason hit up, they are moving forward at a rapid rate. It was a good tackle there by Vangana to shut down Minicello. It needed to be. Johns kicks from halfway. And there's not too many faults in the Australian game so far. Look at that bounce up off the crossbar. That'll stop it from going over the dead ball line.
Back to me, Green.
He's worked it out, Joey Johns. He is a genius.
How many times has he hit the post in big matches of late? No, he did in Origin, hit the upright.
And he wouldn't settle for either side. He got it right bang on the middle of the Xbox.
6 again!
And a call of 6 again there from Bill Harrigan. There's Rauhiwi. Back for Swain. With it is Jones. No one deep on his outside. And now on halfway, Ruben Wiki. Attacking the ball was Timmins in the tackle. He almost came away with it. They are 40 out. Richard Swain. And Jones, the defence has moved up quickly. Talau takes a dash at them. Reminding you, Gordon Tallis will not be back for the Australians tonight. An injury to his right knee. And now New Zealand 25 away. Rauhiwi bumping forward and passes for Kulatua. It is the last tackle. It is 8 metres away. Toppy out of dummy half goes solo, and we have a changeover.
Well, that's just how they played tonight, the Kiwis. The last tackle, and that's the best they can do, is a run from dummy half. I mean, their line wasn't set. There was no one in there to take control. As Matt Singh makes another good run.
Willie Mason was very slow to his feet after that torpy run at the line. They're away again. Lyon is going to look to position Hegarty. He passes without looking almost. And Hegarty on test debut is ankle tagged. 10 out from the line.
Well, Shane Webke out there is Arthur Beetson tonight. Another of his offloads led to that break, and here's a chance for the Australians with Sean Timmins straightening up. The defence has got back fairly well, searching for a hole, can't find it.
5 metres out, he's being stripped of the ball by Vangana. Harrigan is going to rule the tackle had been completed.
Well, the safe option would be to put it further than 4 converted tries in front, but with the way the Australians are playing at the moment, they'll go for more than 2, you would think.
They take the tap. Andrew Johns throws it back. Tate on the second bounce. He's already got 1 try. Singer's also got a 4-pointer. Collected by Gutenberg. Wing. Johns. Back with Ricketson. It opens up on the left. It's just a classical rugby league play. Jamie Lyon gets his second try. Catch and pass. Catch and pass. It is try number 5, and we are watching an exceptionally talented band of players.
And the decoy runners for Australia tonight have been superb. What about this offload at the other end of the field? Shane Webke again attracting a couple of players. Nigel Vangana couldn't come in and stop the play. And Shannon Hegarty, oh so unlucky not to get a try on debut. Ankle tap there by Matt Utai. Little man just getting the heel. And it looked to be all over. And here's the penalty, stripping the football. And Harrigan saying the tackle had been completed. Sean Timmins on the ground. And then watch the decoy here. If he frees it there, that man there has helped this try no end by going in and committing these 2 defenders. And as play continues, look at the hole open up because he made that run. The man comes from around the back. Ricketson offloads to Fletcher, former Roosters teammates, onto Jamie Lyon.
Yeah, what we're watching tonight is just a dead set slaughter. The Kiwis, their defence is just so bad. They don't know whether to come up, drift out. They've got no idea. And the Australians are carving.
20 metres out and 15 in from touch. And Johns are 100% success rate tonight. The Australian fans are being treated to a show tonight. Jamie Lyon has bagged a double. This young man who didn't get a look in last year because of a serious ankle injury when it came around to test football. But he had made his debut as a teenager the previous season. He's back in the green and gold tonight. I dare say he is there for a long, long time. And on the back of that try, the halftime siren. And it is pretty close to a perfect 40 minutes of football. Look at that scoreline. If you've got some New Zealand friends, why not give them a call at halftime? Just find out how they're going. It is 30-0, 5 tries to 0 in Nine's Friday Night Football. We will break and come back with Holden halftime with Phil Gould.
A record first half score against the New Zealanders here at the Aussie Stadium. 30-0 in favour of the Kangaroos. 5 converted tries. You have to say a very unexpected scoreline. Kiwis came into this game looking very strong on paper. Unfortunately for them, that hasn't transferred into a first half performance. Ruben Wiki as skipper tonight. He's done his best. We saw he's made over 70 metres taking the ball forward. Really most of the damage has been done wide and way too many missed tackles. 5 tries as Andrew Johns leads his team out. A double already to Jamie Lyon. Matt Singh, Brent Tate and Big Willie Mason. There he is on the scoreboard again. 3 tries from 3 test matches for Big Willie. Got a good strike rate. I'm sure that Chris Anderson will have called for more of the same in the second half. Make sure that this first 10 minutes they don't get slack. Don't allow their opposition a sniff of scoring points and put them to the sword. Most of these players now have gone from having one step on the flight to the Kangaroo Tour to pretty much buckling in. Chris Anderson will again remind it. They go on with the job. Certainly help their representative cause.
First of 5 test matches the Kangaroos will play in 2003. They could not have been any more impressive. They will play the Kiwis again in October, and then 3 tests on that Kangaroo Tour against Great Britain. Nines Friday night football and a 30-0 halftime scoreline. And Ruben Wiki coming back on for the second half. It was an anguished look on his face. Come on, boys. We're better than this. And New Zealand attacking raid on the first set. Lucky ruled to have knocked back. Outside the 30. Swain is with it. Rauhihi. We're still yet to see Joe Nullarbau. Hardly the situation he was hoping to come on to as Jones offloads. It is promising. Vangana inside the 30. Now kicks inside. Regathers. Vangana loses it on the line. Well, he looked to kick back in field, and somehow he ended back with the ball a metre downfield.
I don't think he was kicking to himself, that's for sure. But this is what they needed early in the second half, a bit of confidence, a break. He's kicked it, nearly got it himself, and was grabbed by Minicello and denied.
And that all came from a Paul Rahihi run. This is incredible. He was looking for support back on the inside, some runners, but in the end it boomeranged back to himself. And a knock on there at the end. But Paul Rahihi was probably their best forward in the first half, the Kiwis, and it was a strong dash by him and a good offload. So maybe they've come out with an injection of some description at half time and they fired up. But this is the Aussies now in possession, and Brian Fletcher, who was very good in that first half, attacking on the fringes and tipping on and offloading. Good work by Fletch.
Well, Vangana involved in the tackle. Nullarbau getting a rub down, getting ready to come on perhaps. About Vangana, it's a tricky kick when you can deceive yourself. And Andrew Johns caught on tackle 4, and Wing now kicks on 5 from inside the 40. Trans-Tasman back for the Warriors. Let's head down to Phil Gould, find out what the coaches had to say after that first 40.
Well, Australian coach Chris Anderson was naturally very happy. He did have a warning for his team. He said that he expected the Kiwis to throw caution to the wind and start offloading the ball at will, and Australians had to be very wary in defence, and we saw from that first set of 6, he's right on the money. We didn't get a report from the Kiwi room, but I'd say Daniel Anderson had said, throw caution to the wind.
It's a tough night for Daniel. First week as New Zealand coach. Had a good chat with him before the game. He was really excited about tonight. It had been a great week. As Jones kicks, it is high for Singh, and Singh safe. He opened the scoring tonight as Tate is away, and there's no one at home. Tate is over halfway, now extending. Oh, get on him, Brent Tate, and follow him all the way through to the Spring Carnival. Brent Tate scores a runaway try.
Well, that's almost an embarrassing try conceded there by New Zealand. They totally went to sleep. Tate's gone out of dummy half. Clinton Torpy makes the tackle. Francis Melly comes in. But nobody down the short side pays any attention as we freeze it there. There the New Zealand player still coming back, while the Australian player has gone out and around. And as play continues, once it becomes a foot race, no one is going to catch Brent Tate from behind. David Violecki valiantly comes across, but disgraceful defence, turning their back, and they paid the ultimate penalty.
Yeah, it's awful. Torpy, look at him. He just never marked up. He was lazy on the ground. He went for about 5 metres and looked up and just saw Tate dashing away down the right-hand side, down the right-hand flank. The determination on his face, but he was clear and easily wins by 22 lengths. For old David Violecki, he's had a tough night at the back. He chased in vain.
This conversion attempt, as we see Brent Tate celebrating from Andrew Johns, could see him go into second. The all-time points scored.
Well, there's more bad news for the Kiwis coming up here as Johns lines up this kick. We'll get a comment from Phil Gould in a moment, but Stacey Jones has come to the bench. Johns has another two. He's having a night out, the Aussie captain. Phil Gould, we look at the pictures here of Stacey Jones, quite distressed.
Yeah, we'll try and get a report on what the injury is there, but he has been replaced. This try from Brent Tate, 5 yards out from his own line, runs from dummy half, skirts the outside of the field and scores a try. If you go down to your local park tomorrow, you'll see 8 and 10-year-old kids doing this pretty often. In test match football, it shouldn't happen.
And the other bad news for the Kiwis, David Bielecki is out there simply because they have no troops to send out there. We could have Joe Nullarbor playing fullback, a position he made his debut in 1998.
Just on that point, Johns was successful with the conversion. That takes him to third in the all-time points scored for Australia, behind Mal Meninga 272, Mick Cronin 201. Tonight he has gone past both Graham Langlands and Michael O'Connor.
Mason passing, they attack left, Ricketson with it. The Australians will motor on, but the Kiwis with this bench of forwards have found troubles now with their backs. Jones off, Bielecki would be off if they had someone to send on, and the Aussies have made an error, and it's a rare one indeed on this what has been a grand night for them.
Well, if he'd have caught that, Shannon Hegarty, he's away again. A lovely ball there from Brian Fletcher. Was a little bit out in front, but sometimes when you're looking to throw those kind of try passes, they're not going to be delivered on the chest.
Swain has gone to halfback.
Yeah, Bielecki has come off.
And Nullarbor, Fatty, actually played fullback replacing Matthew Ridge in 98 when he made his debut for Auckland.
Well, he's on the wing at the moment. The nuggety second row from Penrith.
Don't you think Shannon Hegarty's happy about that?
Big run here from Rauahihi. And then at 36-0, you do try to offload, and Tate gets to the loose ball. Hard to be too critical there of Rauahihi.
And Nigel Vunganar has gone to fullback. Joe Nullarbor now goes into the centres inside Matt Utai. So some big legs on this side of the field for the Kiwis.
The Australians 5 metres inside their own half. Danny Madeira is passing. Andrew Johns wants his man inside. Now links back up with Minicello. Then the long ball. The long passing game has blitzed the Kiwis tonight. Mason gets a little bit of aggro over the top from Wiki. The two stand up chest to chest after the tackle. They're still feeling in the game. Bunganar at fullback can't get across to cut off that.
Have you seen the size of Ruben Wiki, how tall he stares to Willie Mason? You're telling me they were chest to chest? It's a bit of a rabbit punch there from Ruben Wiki. Cheap shot, not normally part of his game.
Yeah, Willie nailed him.
That's close.
He nailed him when he got up. Listen, as we mentioned, 3 tests, 3 tries. Swain works the second scrum, possibly of his career. Swain setback in the first half with Gordon Tallis, that ligament damage to the knee. So Chris Anderson has been operating off a 3-man bench since quite early. Woody Bootham. And Swain now for Rauahihi to take another hit up at Badiris. And plenty of mates there of Badiris to help in the tackle, Fletcher and Ricketson. Now Ruben Wiki. Again, there is 3 in the tackle. And a 44-metre gain on this set. The kick for the second time tonight is out on the full.
Well, it's 36 blot, and we don't want to be too disparaging of the Kiwis, and the fans don't think we are, but they have been awful tonight. And if they don't pick up in everything, attitude, appliance, then it's going to be 60.
That's something we can discuss after the game, but could things have been any different had Swan been awarded a try inside the first 4? Webke's lost it. But just to get their confidence up and get points on the board, he was denied a try.
Yeah, look, I can't say the effort hasn't been there. To miss 30 tackles, you've got to attempt to make them. Certainly that they haven't executed well at all, and the way that the Australians are playing, moving the football around, it's like a catch-22. You miss tackles, you keep chasing, you get tired, you end up missing more tackles.
New Zealand with it on halfway. Let's get a report from Phil on the status of the injured players for New Zealand.
Yeah, well, their halfback, Stacey Jones, has got a strained groin muscle. He's got ice on it at the moment. They're still saying he may come back in this game, but I'll be very surprised if his club coach, Daniel Anderson, risks him with the score at 36-0. David Bielecki has a bad cork. He too has ice on, but they haven't given up hope he may take part in the game.
Little rush down that left side for New Zealand. They've got the field position here, but they don't have their playmaker, and Swain gets a kick in. It's not badly weighted. Hegarty on his goal line, and it may have knocked on as well. It'll be a line dropout for the Kangaroos, and that an example of the Kiwi effort that is being put in. Swain in the unaccustomary position of halfback, and Nullavau playing in the centres, coming through with a tackle which got the ball out of the grasp of Hegarty. Season for that man, Joe Nullavau, who will feature in our match of the round on Sunday when round 20 of the Telstra Premiership is on. Panthers and Roosters from Penrith. It is a blockbuster as Wiki carries to within 10 metres of the line for the Kiwis. Oddy Beetham back with Swain, and quick answer Talau. Talau, who has started in 7 first-grade games for the Dogs this year, has struggled tonight. Rauhihi. He slips the pass. It's put down by Nullavau. It is play on for the Kangaroos. We've got a touch judge in.
Yeah, this will be a penalty for New Zealand. A man tackled without the football, I would think. A support player on the outside, Nullavau, grabbed before the pass was released. The Kiwis will get a penalty. Shannon Hegarty was the culprit.
If it is, it'll be their first penalty, and there it is. 52 minutes into the match, they get their first penalty, and they're shaping up right here for a try.
Oddy Beetham will have the tap. Passes wide to Swain. He keeps it going. And then Talau on an inside run, but around the legs was Sivanasiva. Beetham again. He is 5 from the line. Logan Swan on the spin. That is tackle number 3. Beetham. Chance here. Swain for New Zealand. Their makeshift number 7 gets over. It's their first try. And the Kiwi supporters who have come along to Aussie Stadium tonight at last, they are cheering.
Yes, they came from this penalty awarded their way. Joe Nullavau definitely interfered with, and they never got numbers, as we freeze it there. You can see the Australian players on the far side coming up straight, and the try scorer will go through the gap that's created. They just didn't have enough numbers out there. It was 5 against 3. The Australian outside men rushing up quickly, and by rushing up quickly, that opened it up on the inside.
Yeah, they actually used a bit of the Australian play. They used a decoy close to the line. I think it was Ruben Wiki who took out a couple of players, and Richard Swain looked up, and he's been pretty strong tonight for the Kiwis. 24 tackles and gets a deserving try. Is that the start of a comeback?
Well, the talk at half-time from that man, Daniel Anderson, would have been about making the second half a respectable one. Come out, make sure the scoreline didn't get away. Chris Anderson would have said to his players, stressing, don't let them cross our line. So he'll certainly be disappointed that been scored against. This is along Daniel Anderson's line of thinking, 36-6.
So Swain converts his first try. It is 36-6 in Nine's Friday night test football. Ready to go again. Australians on the back of conceding their first points for the night. New Zealand side. Swain scored the try. We've had some aborted attempts at a Mexican wave around Aussie Stadium. CU took the hit up. And now Ruben Wiki, the Kiwi captain. Gutenberg. He's on the 30 and offloading back there for Beetham. And now they are up to the 40. Chalky. Away with Pulatua. Has had very few opportunities to run with the ball and he's lost it here.
Lost it?
It's just not happening for them.
Yeah, I've got to say I was a little bit surprised at the run onside that the New Zealand team did name. I thought if you're going to take advantage of form players like Tony Pulatua and Joe Nullavow, you start the game with them. You take advantage of what they've done for Penrith week in, week out. Monty Beetham, to me, is not a bench player. He's not the kind of bloke who comes on and does something for you. He starts a game and sets a trend. He's an inspirational player defensively. That's what you want early in a game.
Must have one against the feet there. Billy got it right. It's all over the joint.
Inside legs back to Petro. Give him the hold, put it in. Not like that.
Well, we'll just go with that one. Play on. And Hegarty. He was ankle tapped by Matt Utah in that first half when he seemed destined to score a try on debut.
I hope he gets one tonight. If anyone deserves a try tonight, it is Shannon Hegarty. He's been all but on a couple of occasions.
So Australians attack right. This is where they've had a lot of success tonight. There's a swinging arm in there, which certainly caught the attention of those on the eastern side of the ground.
Very high tackle on Dane Carlaw there.
Francis Melly was the player involved as Sivanasiva carries forward. 30 metres away from this New Zealand line. It is Andrew Johns. That cutout ball. Here's trouble. Fletcher. It comes wide. Matty Singh. He's got another double. He has made it a habit this year. In fact, that's the 8th time he's scored at least 2 tries in a match. He is having some sort of year.
And the way the Australians have moved the football tonight, they've made it very difficult for the outside men. There's Melly. Did come up off the football a little bit on Carlaw. The outside men for New Zealand, they're not quite sure whether to come in or stay out. Australia go to the right-hand side. We freeze it there. There's Francis Melly. Now, what you don't do when you're opposing a man is let him get on the outside. And as play continues, that's how they've lined up. He's already on the outside. It becomes 2-on-1. Melly, do I stay? Do I stay? No, I've got to go. By that time, the bird has flown.
Well, it was 3-on-2 all the way there, and it was a wonderful pass by Brian Fletcher. He's had a big game, Brian Fletcher, and a big season whilst playing for South Sydney as well. They haven't been going that crash shot, but Brian Fletcher's put in week in and week out, and he played well in Origin football for Phil Gould, and he's done it again tonight, coming on to replace Gordon Tallis early in the match. And Matt Singh, what a season.
You've known him for a long time, Fatty. You've watched him play for a long time. The one thing that amazes me with Matt Singh, I think he looks quicker now than what he did 4 or 5 years ago. He has not lost one bit of pace whatsoever.
And he's always been a confidence player, and he's playing with that much confidence now. He knows that he can do anything he wants out there.
Andrew Johns has had it going good tonight, but not on this occasion. He misses one. It is 40 points to 6. Phil Gould sideline.
Yeah, Matty Singh, I can remember in 1993, he came down from Rockhampton on $1,000 to play with the Panthers. He was a halfback. He missed out on the Queensland under-17 team as a number 7. He didn't talk. He was shy. He couldn't kick. He couldn't pass. So I sent him back to Emu Plains. Lenny Stacker was the coach there. He put him in the centres. He scored 3 tries. He said, you better have him back. He's an outside back. Look at him now. He's playing for Queensland, playing for Australia, scoring tries every week.
I'll bet you ended up giving him a little bit more than 1,000 not far down the track, Gus.
Yeah, he's got the first cent he ever earned, too. I think he's got the 1,000 in the bank, Matty Singh.
Sivanasiva with it. He's up short of the 30. That was the tackle on Bailey from Kearney. As they attack right again. And Tate. Free running down the right side. Beetham gets the intercept. Much needed. But Tate is having an attacking game tonight of the best kind. New Zealand on the 40. 21 years of age. Each of the 2 centres for the Kangaroos. Now Gutenberg. Wiki. Beetham for Swain. Swain playing halfback. Kearney, he loses the ball. Fletcher couldn't come up with it. All the time looking to offload, given the scoreline. It appeared to come off the leg at the finish. Kearney will be called out.
When you hit Luke Bailey, we're just going to place that on report and we're going to go on to the scrum. Might be a good tackle. Might be a great tackle and we're just going to look at it, all right?
Well, the call's very late, but it's the right one. And good to see that technology has allowed that to happen.
Head down, head down, Bonnie, get your head down.
Stephen Kearney saying got him on the shoulder, but from the evidence of the video we saw, I don't think there's much in his argument. He's definitely high and probably deserved to be placed on report and has been.
For the Kangaroos, top the hit-ups for New South Wales in all 3 origins this year. And tonight, he has made 21 tackles and 10 hit-ups.
Dominant, 3.
Carlo will play it outside the 40. Not a particularly big 10 metres kept by Bill Hagan on that last play. Kangaroos right on halfway. And Johns bumps it out wide. It's 3 on 2. It came loose for Tater's play on now for Torpy. Sorpy had a job to do there. He was effective. Kiwis 30 metres out. And just 1 try next to their names tonight. Wiki, shortest of offloads. Talau plays it outside the 20. Gives him back for Kearney. Running at Bailey. He put paid to the first attempt there of Badeiros. Beetham wasn't watching a dummy half. Almost caught out. Kept alive now, back on the inside for Vungana. Then back for Beetham. He's lost it. Kangaroos with it. Fletcher.
That's how their night's gone. They're building up to something there. Maybe get their second try of the night, and ball hits the deck once again. Been good as well tonight, Luke Bailey. Another bloke has had a super duper year for the Dragons, for the Blues, and tonight for Australia.
Willie Mason prepares to come back on. Sivanasiva to this 30. Crowd tonight ended up quite healthy here at Aussie Stadium. I mentioned earlier that the New Zealand contingent in the crowd was very strong and very vocal. They have been silenced by that first 40 minutes, but 30,605 is just a few less than we had last year for the test with Great Britain. And Australia attack again left. Mason taken front on there by Nullavow. Combined, there was about 40 kilos of hair meeting there. Hegarty back. Johns passes long, and Minicello gets a kick in. Don't know how to describe it though. Melly comes back for the Kiwis. I think he might be a left footer, and that was off his right.
I don't think we'll see Anthony kick again in this match. As we go into the final quarter of the game, it's testimony again as to what Origin does for these players. A lot of people saying it's tiring, and it is, and all of that. But what it does battle harden you, absolutely no doubt. The best preparation for any big games, test football, is to go through an Origin series.
Well, he takes them on again. And offloads. Beetham keeps it alive. Utai kicks, and it ricocheted off Harrigan. Pick of the stand, Matt Utai. Pick of the stand off the top shelf, young man.
Well, Bill Harrigan saying to the New Zealanders it was always going dead. Good falcon from the man in the middle.
Here's Hegarty. We get a chance. We'll hear what Harrigan said here.
Oh.
I think he said, oh,
you big wuss, Bill.
I think Bill Laurie would say, got him. As the Australians get a shepherd play there. Kiwis penalty. 15 and a half remaining.
Oh, the hair's messed up too, Bill. Give it a quick scrub, mate. Give it a quick poke.
A quick poke.
Oh, whatever they do with it. I'll tell you what tonight has done. It's confirmed Paul Rahihi is a test forward, hasn't he? He's been outstanding for the Kiwis.
I think the bloke who just kicked the touch there has been close to their best as well, Richard Swain. Suhu. A strong charge. Can they get their second on the board? They got 5 tackles up their sleeve. Has he held it? No.
Torture. They're trying so hard. Just got ahead of himself there, Monty Beetham.
And the self-administered falcon from Monty Beetham. It's 15 out. And Johns away for Tate. Thinking about Andrew Johns, he's hardly had to cop a tackle tonight. Tate copped one in the face in that tackle. As Bailey rips into them again.
Yeah, it's been the kind of game that for Andrew Johns where Michael Hagan, I guess he might have been tempted to rest him or play a little of him on Sunday against the Tigers. This is a kind of game where Johns could get through fairly unscathed. Last 2 trips Newcastle made to Campbelltown without Johns, they've been beaten. 9th on the ladder. The man who just kicked the football there is a key to how far they're going to go up the premiership ladder into the playoffs.
Nigel Bunganar collected over the top by his Bulldogs teammate as Pulatua. Locks flowing, rushes back out there. There is Millie. 4 in that tackle, and he was still on his feet. Rahihi tonight, 10 hit-ups, 14 tackles, just under the 100 metres, and 5 offloads. That's been one of the highlights. It's Pulatua. Almost bursting through the other side of the defence. Here is Torpy. He is 30 metres away. Monty Beetham playing for a penalty as Wing rolled clear of the play of the ball. The kick from Swain. Hegarty is able to let it go over the sideline. We will break here in Nine's Friday Night Football from Aussie Stadium. 40 points to 6. Twelve and a half minutes remaining in this test match. Shane Webke, we watch from over his shoulder. This scrum 10 metres out. Webke very much a contender for man of the match honours tonight because of the devastating work he provided in the first half. Mason with it. Well played on the 30. That left thigh heavily strapped. Bulldogs face the Cowboys on Sunday. Bailey's just thrown Guttenbeil away. Almost with disdain. Kangaroos outside the 40 for Ricketson. Andrew Johns. I'll just check. Ricketson, I don't think, has had a break, has he? That kick played at by Utai. And then was under a bit of pressure. This is 11 metres out. Utai was slow to his feet, now back on the haunches. Nullavow. Monty Beetham. Swan runs at Ricketson. Confirmation, he's been out there for the entire game. 69 minutes so far. Utai's in trouble for New Zealand.
Yeah, we've got a problem there. The trainer has just signalled to the touch line. It's the other winger, Francis Melly, does some fancy dancing, tries to offload.
Torpy. And Rahihi with another run. Look at him go. And able to offload and then sing. Was it a steal or an intercept?
No,
I'm not sure.
It was a steal. He just grabbed it out of his arms. Here's Rahihi. As Paul pointed out, he's been very strong. And give me that football.
Australians now with Johns. And that ball back for Ricketson. Up and over Nullavow. They will be opposed again on Sunday when the Roosters play the Panthers. As Webke bumps away from his Broncos teammate Swain. Spectacular this.
ball went forward. Can't be a forward pass. Andrew Johns actually looked like he was taken out from behind.
Yeah.
He was supporting Willie Mason.
In fact,
it was actually Minicello backing up.
I think that's okay. I think he'd
That's
gone
fine.
past the football.
No, there's no hand built. And this should be a try. It would have been a penalty anyway, right in front of the posts. But Hegarty looks like he gets his try.
Again, we should point out the video referee cannot adjudicate on forward passes, so he's not looking for that at all.
He might have been unsighted. He might have thought Minicello got a hand to it. But good ball, wasn't it, from Ricketson on the fly, and then Hegarty out wide.
Yeah, good on you, Shannon. You got your try.
Just to explain the rule too, the ball can bounce forward after it has been passed backwards. Once it hits the ground, then bounces forward, that's okay. As long as the first motion was to pass it backwards, and that was definitely the case with Mason's pass. It then took a bounce towards the New Zealand goal line.
Well, the longer this goes, it's like a protest. The longer it goes, the more chance you are of not having it go your way. That looked fine to me. It went backwards. Ricketson's done a good job. Bill Harrigan, well, he can only adjudicate on that pass. He said that's fine.
I've got to say here, Sterlo, I don't think the video ref can rule on any of this. When you watch it, that's a pass from Mason. It's not a drop ball.
No, so I think Bill was unsighted, and obviously he thinks that someone's touched it who shouldn't have.
But my point, Paul, is that Phil has to throw it back to Bill Harrigan here. He can't make a decision. He can't rule on any of that.
The ref's call.
If he's not looking for a knock on, you're right. He can't say whether it was forward or backwards the pass.
He just says try. Sweet as. Hegarty on Testaboo has a 4-pointer. And what a 12 months it has been for him. Grand final win, Origin debut, now Testaboo try.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating night in some ways for Shannon Hegarty. Big Willie Mason. I don't need to use the term Bill. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? And Minicello overran it. Luke Ricketson, he's like a drover's dog, Luke. He's everywhere. Just where you need him to be. And Jamie Lyon, beautiful pass. Shannon Hegarty out wide. Finishes.
Let's take a comment from Phil Gould sideline.
Why did we need so many replays to determine that was a try? The video referees are shell-shocked. The Logan Swan decision early in the game, the fact he took so long to do that, they don't want to make a decision, the video referees. Matt Utai's gone to the bench with a sore shoulder.
Johns lines up this kick.
Get into him, Phil. Go hard, champ.
We will talk about that video referee ruling from the first half after the game. Had a chat with Phil Cooley rather, at half-time. Oh, just imagine if you're on him at 100 to 1. Logan Swan. Johns misses.
Imagine.
Nines, Friday night football, 8 remaining. It's 44 to 6. Richard Swain has us underway into this final passage. 52-0. In 2000 it was, when these sides clashed over at Homebush, and tonight at Aussie Stadium it is 44 to 6. The Australians, well, that ball has come out very late. The call came off strip from the touch judge. And what's more, it came a call from the New Zealand touch judge on that far side of the ground. As Ricketson takes a hit up. Matt Utai nursing a shoulder problem for the first time this year. Suffered that injury up against the Broncos at Suncorp Stadium. Mason's now hurt for the Kangaroos. He was limping after that last pass. Arthur Clark is the name of that touch judge, by the way, the New Zealander. Carlaw away from Beetham. 25 metres from the line.
Well, on this side of the field, we've got Willie Tallow on the wing. We've got Richard Swain playing in the centres. They're all over the place, the Kiwis, with these injury concerns.
Wing keeps it alive for Tate. Defence for a moment flat-footed. Vidiris. Andrew Johns. He is 15 out. Props and turns it inside. Sings looking for 3. Collected by Torpy. Last tackle. Danny Badeiras short on this side. Craig Wing angles back in field. Andrew Johns flicks it out the back. You expect to see that with 6.5 remaining. And then the ball is put down. Now, what did happen to Willie Mason back on that previous play? I was worried about his thigh. It was a case of having his left foot trodden on. That does smart.
Over that side.
But we shouldn't laugh about it. It may have done a little more than just light-on damage. But he's got that left thigh heavily strapped in any case. As Torpy offloading on the dive to Melly. And Melly is 45 from the line. See you alive for Wiki. Even Wiki has had such a great year with Canberra. This is quite a letdown tonight. Swain, long ball. And Willie Tallow would have had to been jet-propelled on a dive to get a hand on it.
Richard Swain, when he passed that ball, he's saying, come on, champ, run onto it. Just watch him in the background. We don't see it there, but he's waving his hands around saying, should have been there.
Swain, who will head to the Hull Club next year in England. Johns fires that ball out. It went over the shoulder of Wing. And then CU gets there late. Play on the call from Harrigan. And look at Wing. And then bounces away from CU. It'd be 25 kilos difference between those two. And Wing came off better. Siva got up a little wounded from that previous tackle. Here's Ricketson. Still going in this match. Straight into Johns. Almost bringing the game to a complete stop there. Then finding Webke. Shane Webke come up with a try. Hasn't got one this year. Johns, cut out ball. Lyon got 2 in the first half. Hegarty. He wants a double. He's 5 metres from the line. And last tackle. Johns is the man to look for here. Here he is, the number 7. The little kick. Running through is Minicello. And back there was Beetham. Did well. Monty Beetham to force the line dropout.
Well, they're desperate to try and get to 50. And look at him pointing. Sending out commands. Nearly hit the upright.
Warriors have the bye this weekend. I guess some would say couldn't suffer in silence after tonight's match. Some of their teammates, though, will have the opportunity to get it out of their system, if you like. The likes of Nullarbor and Pulatua will line up at Penrith on Sunday in our match of the day.
Yeah, the competition leaders up against the reigning premiers. And the tip is, if you're going out to Penrith Stadium, get there early. I think they'll probably close the gates out there at some stage. And if you can't get to the football, settle back at 4 o'clock with us and sit down and watch what should be a classic confrontation between two sides going beautifully this season.
We'll talk more about that match in the after-game show tonight. Wing's headed for the try line. Wing will get there. Craig Wing in his second Test match.
Yeah, well done, Craig Wing. A great run. He can do this to you. He can hurt you if he got some room to move. And once again, this has been typical Kiwi defence tonight, with a player rushing up there, Monty Beetham, trying to make a tackle, trying to nullify everything the Australians are doing. But when you do rush up, you've got to make the tackle. And he missed and opened up the hole for Craig Wing. He doesn't need much room to move, does he?
You've got to make sure your defence against this Australian team is in one line. Doesn't matter how quickly you go up, as long as you go up together and make decisions along with each other. If someone reacts and comes in, then you've got to support on the outside by coming in. Too often tonight, as we see the disappointment of Nigel Vunganar, we've seen Kiwi defenders come in, some stay out, some rush up, some stay back, and holes appear all over the place.
And Andrew Johns attempting this kick from 9 metres out. He did it last year. In fact, 2 years ago for the Knights against the Warriors over at Ericsson. Was successful from wider out. try and do this. From such a slight angle, looks to hook it back and just shaves the uprights.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Don't want it in a test match?
Well, I think it's, no. I think it's just a bit of showmanship that's not needed. Now, these are test points out there. As we said, he's moved to third on the all-time list. He could have taken it back and had a normal shot. I'm not a fan.
Let's take a comment from Phil Gould, sideline.
Yeah, a little bit of David Beckham about that one. I want to give a rooster a rap. Luke Ricketson playing in his test debut tonight. He's been absolutely outstanding. He's run the ball. He's tackled everything that's moved. We're moving into the 80th minute of the game and he's still there. He'll have to do it all again for the Roosters on Sunday, but he's used to it. Good on you, Rico. Test debut.
Webke, this man has been so good and quick play the ball. Caught all the defenders out while they're trying to wrestle and take him to ground. Webke's thinking, I'll just play this. The Australians roll on. Well, the Johns miss. They've saved the Kiwis the embarrassment of the 50 on the scoreboard. 48-6. 45 seconds remaining. Johns kicks short. Sends them on the chase. Matty Singh doesn't get the bounce. Beetham does. He deserves a change of luck. And New Zealand, one last chance to attack with a football. It's quite a while to wait for revenge, all the way through to October. Wide ball here, juggled by Talau. Talau inside the 40. And there is that man Gus spoke of, Luke Ricketson across in cover. In the 80th minute of the game with Carlaw. At a 48-6 scoreline, that is determination plus. The Kiwis with a final run of the night. Beetham, see you, Swain, Swan kicks. It's covered up by Minicello. That ends his first test. And that ends the first test of the year. And that crushes the Kiwis' hopes. But what a performance from the Kangaroos, the Phillips Kangaroos tonight. 9 tries to 1. A match that they absolutely slaughtered the Kiwis in the first 40 minutes. It was 30-0 at half-time. All you can do is sit back and admire these wonderful athletes that less than 10 days ago were locking horns in State of Origin. Opposed like their lives depended on it. Tonight, for 17 of them, they've got together and turned on a grand show. One that is greatly appreciated by the crowd of over 30,000 here at Aussie Stadium. 48 points to 6. The first of 5 test matches for the Kangaroos this year. We will break here at Aussie Stadium, but still plenty coming up. Our after-game show. We will have our Nutrigrain Ironman of the match. We will also be hearing from the respective sheds. Matthew Johns, Tim Gilbert heading off to the dressing rooms in the wash-up to tonight's test. And a preview of our match of the day coming up on Sunday between the Panthers and the Roosters. Don't go away. Channel 9's Friday Night League.
Nice to be cheered. First of all, I'd like to thank the Kiwis for a great game. It's always going to be hard for them with us guys coming off the State of Origin. Thanks for the way you played. They just got us on a bad night. Thanks to everyone who turned up tonight. I hope you really enjoyed it. I know we did. We take great pride in our jumper, and I think it showed the way we played tonight. And to Chris Anderson, all our support staff, and all the players, thanks for a great week. It's an honour to lead you guys. It's such a special side. You handled yourself great all week, and it showed the way we played tonight. Thanks a lot.